CrossFit, currently in 11th place, Lisa Shu. In lane 11 from CrossFit Hendersonville, currently in 10th place, Lindsey McDuffie. In lane 2 from 812 CrossFit, currently in 9th place, Nicole Holcomb. And in lane 10 from CrossFit SEO, currently in 8th place, Jolene Grant. In lane 3 from KP CrossFit, currently in 7th place, Heather Welsh. In lane 9 from CrossFit Bluegrass, currently in 6th place, Joellen McAtee. In lane 4 from SPC CrossFit, currently in 5th place, Jules Broadbent. In lane 8 from CrossFit The Ville, currently in 4th place overall, Lindy Wall. In lane 5 from Rogue Fitness, CrossFit Games veteran, currently in 3rd place, Lindsey Smith. In lane 7 from CrossFit Chickasaw, another veteran, currently in 2nd place, Michelle Kinney. And your leader overall in lane 6 from CrossFit Maximus, let's hear it for Jennifer Smith.
Your starting grid for the 4th and final heat of event 6. Keep an eye on lanes 4 through 9. Those 6 women fighting for 3 trips to the games. Here's what's on tap for them as they get set for event 6.
Individual event 6 is a chipper. Athletes begin with 100 double unders. The rope must pass twice beneath the foot. Negotiating the rig, they move on to 50 handstand push-ups. The hands must remain inside the white tape and the arms must reach full extension. Next are 40 toes to bar. Straightforward, but by no means easy. Then 30 heavy shoulder to overhead await. The fat bar makes grip and balance difficult. Finally, athletes will rack the bar and lunge 100 feet to the finish line.
3, 2, 1, go!
We are underway, the 4th and final heat of event 6. The time to beat, 10:17.4. That belongs to Brittany Kopp. Your event record, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet, 8 minutes, 8 seconds.
Again, just like with all the other athletes, the double unders for these ladies is not going to be a problem. It's just the first step in the course of this event. Try not to get frustrated if they miss. You saw Lisa Shu miss her double under right there. Not a big deal. Just kind of keep consistent and get through them, and then get into the rest of the event.
100 double unders after that. The athletes will make their way under that plexiglass wall and perform 50 handstand push-ups. Then it's onto the pull-up bar for 40 toes to bar. Then they move on to the axle bar, loaded with 100 pounds, perform 30 shoulder to overhead, and then finally it's the 90-foot lunge to the end of the floor to close out the event. Michelle Kinney, first to the wall, but barely, and now your leaders, Jennifer Smith, Michelle Kinney, Lindy Wall, Joellen McAtee, are all on their handstand push-ups, and now Lindsey Smith is there as well.
Again, for a lot of the ladies, they're going to be breaking these down, unlike the men. The men just want to get up there and hammer out as many as they can. I think the majority of these women are going to try and break them down into sets of 5 to 10. They don't want to blow out their shoulders for the shoulder to overhead work that they have to do, and then that walking lunge. And you can see a lot of these women are using a very, very strong kip. It's a high number of reps that these ladies have to do. So save their shoulders as much as they can, get a nice big kip, which is bringing those feet down to their hips, exploding those legs upward, and really releasing a lot of that weight onto the shoulders as they press up overhead.
In the pink top, Jennifer Smith, your overall leader on the right of your screen. In the middle of your screen, Lindsey Smith. The leader right now, Jules Broadbent, in lane 4, is through 37 of her 50 handstand push-ups.
Now you can see that white box, that tape that a lot of these women have their hands in. The standard for these ladies, as far as hand placement goes, it can be anywhere within that box. However, the palm of their hand cannot touch that tape. Fingers are okay, but if you're going to cut the fingers off, any other part of that hand that touches the tape, that's going to be a no rep. So it's a critical how close you get. You can see how close some of these ladies are coming to that edge, trying to make sure that they're done correctly.
Jules Broadbent on the left, Lindsey Smith on the right. Lindsey Smith, one of the taller athletes in this final heat. She's 5'11". Jules Broadbent, a former teams competitor. She was on the SPC CrossFit squad that finished second at the 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games last year. And now only a few reps left for her before she is done with her 50 handstand push-ups. Meanwhile, in lane 8, it's Lindy Wall first to the pull-up bar for her 40 toes to bar. And now Jules Broadbent struggling with her final rep. Lindy Wall is your leader already through 5, now 6 of her 40 toes to bar.
You know, she had such an incredible event yesterday in the hundreds. I'm expecting the same type of a workout to go in her favor, the same thing, and that's exactly what she needs to do to make herself into that top 3 position. She needs to do well here.
Now Jules Broadbent onto her toes to bar. Jolene Grant is there as well. Jules Broadbent comes in 5th place overall. She has 39 points. She's 5 back of Lindsey Smith. And Lindsey Smith in the purple shorts and yellow top still on her handstand push-ups. So Jules Broadbent in the blue top can really make up some ground here if she can keep this lead on Lindsey Smith.
And that's exactly what she hopes to do. Again, a lot of these women are veteran to this sport, but if you want to get in that top 3, you have to do well, especially in this one event where you know you can do well.
Lindy Wall in the yellow shorts is your leader right now. She is through 30 repetitions of her toes to bar. Jennifer Smith in the pink top, she's your overall leader. She's on her toes to bar. The time that they are trying to chase down belongs to Brittany Kopp. 10:17.4, the event record. 8 minutes, 8 seconds belongs to Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet out of the Canada East region.
Now, obviously, it doesn't seem like the stomach part would be a real, effect, an adverse action to the rest of this workout. However, it's support right now. They need to support that weight up overhead. They wrecked their whole backside yesterday. This is an onslaught of the frontal plane today. So right there, you can see Lindy putting on that belt. We know she's had some back issues in the past. She's obviously shown the doctor that a little CrossFit work will do you right for sure. So impressive job and looking solid so far.
And Lindy Wall is a woman who needs to do some work here to get herself into contention. She currently sits in 4th place overall. She's battling with Jules Broadbent and Lindsey Smith for that final spot. Now Jules Broadbent, who is in 5th overall, onto the axle bar for her shoulder to overhead. She's on the left. Lindy Wall on the upper right of your screen. And Lindy Wall is your leader. She's now through 6 repetitions. She is 3 points back of Lindsey Smith, who is now on her toes to bar. And Lindsey Smith is through only 2 repetitions, so they have a big lead on Lindsey Smith right now.
Lindsey Smith needs to be smart. Maybe she doesn't need to do super well on this, but those other girls are in the hunt. So Lindsey Smith cannot afford to go slow on these toes to bar. She's going to really need to make up a lot of distance on her shoulder to overhead and those lunges, because these women are moving quick.
Lindy Wall is your leader. She's in the yellow shorts. She's currently through 15 of her 30 shoulder to overhead. Lindy Wall, a 2-year varsity college soccer player at the University of Dayton. She's from CrossFit the Ville out of Louisville, Kentucky. And now Jules Broadbent done with her first set of 10 and trying to keep pace with Lindy Wall. And here comes overall leader Jennifer Smith and Michelle Kinney in the all black. She is on her shoulder to overhead. That is Lindy Wall's family looking on and encouraging Lindy. And she currently is in the lead right now on her final set of 10 shoulder to overhead, and well ahead of the leading pace that was set by Brittany Kopp in the 3rd heat. 10 minutes, 17.4 seconds.
She is so focused right now and doing exactly what she needs to do. Looks great, doesn't look tired, looks so concerned and ready just to pounce on these other athletes. she's doing exactly what she needs to do, and she just needs to keep it up right now.
First and second place overall in the pink, Jennifer Smith, and the all-black Michelle Kinney. They're fighting it out for that top spot, but it's Lindy Wall who's trying to get into the top three and trying to get to Carson for the 2013 Reebok CrossFit Games. And now Jules Broadbent getting set for her final set of 10. Lindy Wall about ready to start her lunges. In lane 2, that's Nicole Holcomb in the all blue. She's on her shoulder to overhead. And there goes Lindy Wall on her 90-foot trek down the floor as she will try to rack up her second first place finish of the competition. She tied for first in event 4.
She's moving so quick right now. She can keep that front rack position and go straight through. She's just going to dominate this particular event. She needs to do well here, and she's putting a stamp on it right now to put herself, into that last event to say, look, I want to go to the games. I'm going to show you that I really want to go to the games.
And you can see the emotion on her family's faces. Lindy Wall is not slowing down. She is on pace to demolish the time to beat as her family gets more and more excited as Lindy Wall has yet to put the barbell down. She may go unbroken on this 90-foot lunge and crush the time to beat. Lindy Wall, one more to go. She is across.
Wow.
Her doctor said she would never squat again, and now she's just won event 6.
Wow. Her doctor needs to be here to watch what this girl can do. That was so impressive.
Lindy Wall, a time of 8:25.6. Now here comes Nicole Holcomb in lane 2, who has passed Jules Broadbent. There's Jules Broadbent. She's now on her 90-foot lunges. Meanwhile, Heather Welch, you can see her in the yellow top there in the back of the white headband. She's still on her shoulder to overhead. She's the woman who currently sits in 3rd place. So both Lindy Wall and Jules Broadbent can make up ground on Lindsey Smith. And it looks like Lindy Wall could very well be in 3rd place overall after this event. Now it is Jules Broadbent on the right and Nicole Holcomb on the left, battling for 2nd place overall and 2nd place in this heat.
Both of these women do not want to put the bar down. They know exactly where the other one is. And they're both thinking, you know what, this hurts so bad, but I can't drop it. They have to stay in there.
Broadbent's across. She's going to finish 2nd unofficially. A time for Jules Broadbent of 9:32.6, so she's 2nd overall. Nicole Holcomb is in 3rd overall for her 9:42.1. Jennifer Smith, your overall leader. She's pretty safe in 1st place, but that gap between her and spots 3 through 6 is going to be smaller after event number 6 as Jules Broadbent catches her breath after selling out on those lunges.
Yeah, Jennifer Smith right there, she's the only one, for the most part, that can kind of take a little breather right here. Everyone else is basically battling tooth and nail to get in there. She can't wait too long. She's got to get herself all the way through.
So Jennifer Smith doing damage control, and she will finish with a time unofficially of 10:25.7. That should be enough to keep her in 1st place overall. Michelle Kinney in 2nd place in the all-black, getting back on her barbell. So it's Michelle Kinney trying to hold off Jolene Grant in the light blue. A 15-minute time cap here. As we approach the 11-minute mark, Michelle Kinney, a couple more to go, and she will be stepping across the line, and Michelle Kinney will finish up. She is in with a time of 10:57.1. Now Jolene Grant across the finish line. She is in with a time of 11:05.8. Now Lindsey Smith has the barbell down. She came in 3rd place overall. She only had a 3-point cushion over Lindy Wall. That has been erased in this event. So now it's a matter of how far back Lindsey Smith will fall in the overall standings. She has 3.5 minutes to get herself across the finish line and get inside the 15-minute time cap.
You can see how frustrated she is right now. She saw that 3rd place just kind of disappear in her hands. She's got to finish this well and then know that she must crush the last workout to even have a shot anymore.
Lindsey Smith is a 4-time Games competitor. She finished 21st at the 2012 Games last year. And she was second in the Central East behind Julie Fouché in 2012.
You know, she's got to be doing a little math in her head right now as she's coming down to the finish. This is not what she wanted, obviously, but she's got some making up to do in this next event.
Lindsey Smith approaching the finish line, just a couple more steps to go for her. And one thing about being taller here is you can chew up real estate on these lunges. Lindsey Smith is in 12:21.1, and clearly by the look on her face, not the result that she was looking for here. Ricci in lane 1, the CrossFit rookie, in the final heat here with the contenders, trying to close out her event.
You know, being a rookie, she's had a great showing this entire weekend. And every time you see her, she's got a smile on her face, so she's obviously having, a good time overall.
So Ricci gets in. She finishes the time at 12:47.3. Heather Welsh in lane 3 is finishing up. And in lane number 1, or lane 12, it's Lindsay McDuffie finishing up. But there is your event winner, Lindy Wall, 8:25.6 seconds. The top 3, Lindy Wall followed by Jules Broadbent, 2 women who needed to do well in this event to move themselves up the leaderboard and into one of those top 3 spots. We still have a minute and a half to go before we hit the 15-minute time cap. And in lane 9, Joellen McAtee, who finished 6th in the Central East last year, is trying to get herself across the finish line. Lindy Wall is out there cheering her on, as is the rest of this capacity crowd here at the Ohio Expo Center. They expected more than 3,000 people for this event. Lisa Shue in lane 1 trying to close out her lunges. And now Joellen McAtee in lane 9 with Jennifer Smith and Lindy Wall cheering her on. Has 50 seconds left.
Again, one of the greatest things is to have your fellow competitors come out and cheer you on. If you can't beat them, it's great to have them rooting you on, pushing you, because you can always do more work when you have your friends and competitors out there rooting you on, pushing you on.
All the competitors are still on the floor, and this is the best thing about CrossFit. We say it a lot, but it is the greatest thing about the sport. You'll hear the women finishing last get cheered louder more often than the women who finished first.
And everyone in every box around the world knows that exact same feeling. If you're first, that's great. If you're last, everyone's cheering and rooting you on. So that, you know what, that right there is what brings you back the next day.
10 seconds to go for Joellen McAtee, and she has a shot here. If she can string together some lunges, 5 seconds to go. Couple more steps for Joellen McAtee, and she will not make it. She'll fall about a rep short because it counts as a repetition. To stand on that mat, there's a 1-second penalty for every rep you do not complete, but a great effort to close it out by Joellen McAtee. But it is Lindy Wall who is your overall winner, but it's Nicole Holcomb who did some really good work to come from behind and wrap up a 3rd place finish.
Great job on her as an individual, but guess what? That's going to shuffle some points around. She probably wasn't going to get in that top 3, but that's going to jostle the winners for sure.
2nd place was Jules Broadbent. She was fast on those handstand push-ups and toes to bar, slowed a little bit on the shoulder to overhead, but was able to make up some ground.
Again, with her, she needed to do really well here. They're so tight and looking for that 3rd place. Again, super strong, great showing for her, and see where that ends her up.
And finally, the winner, Lindy Wall, who set a blistering pace and absolutely needed a win here.
And she did exactly what she needed to do. She's showing how strong and what kind of fitness she has. Look at her, not even tired at the end of that.
Lindy Wall came in 4th place overall. Needed to score some points. She did so. We'll have more from the Central East Regional when we come back to the Ohio Expo Center.
I think what's cool is you only get better by training with other people. The intensity level is high, the drive and the push is 10 times greater. Some people might train by themselves, but we really represent like coming together as a community, pushing yourself. So it's this huge camaraderie and accountability. when you feel like your mind is getting weak, it just gets you built up even that much more to push even harder when you see someone else going.
Hey, great job on those 400s today, of course.
Cheers, well done on the lifting. Shocker.
You want to settle this?
Come on then.
Let's go.
Come on, Venezuela, put your back into it.
I am! Speak American!
It's English, you daft bastard.
I will snatch you, so God help me!
Gotta catch me first, biatch.
Ugh. You always got to believe that you can do it. I tell that to people. It might not happen this today, it might not happen this week, it might not happen next week, it might not even happen next year. But if you believe that it'll happen and you can do it, it will happen. It will. I know it will. I might not be the fastest, I might not be the most gymnasty out there, but I'll tell you what, I'm never going to stop. Ever stop believing in what I can do. No one can take that away from me.
Welcome back to the Ohio Expo Center in Columbus, Ohio, for continuing live coverage of the Central East Regional Competition, and we've just seen Lindy Wall get her second first place finish of this competition and help her cause and moving up the leaderboard. And Lindy Wall was just consistently good throughout this entire event.
You love to see this battle. You get some people who are, not all that known in CrossFit and coming and just crushing when they need to crush it. She put on a show in that event. I believe it's the second best time worldwide so far.
And her family was able to witness the whole thing. And as a result, your overall standings now through 6 events for the women. Lindy Wall now currently sits in 3rd place ahead of Jules Broadbent and Lindsey Smith, who had that 3rd place spot heading into the event. She is now down in 5th and needs to do some work to get herself back to the games. Let's send it down to Emily Turner, who is standing by with Lindy Wall.
Thank you, Sean. Lindy, wow, what a performance. I think the thing that stuck out the most to me and anybody watching that was that last set of lunges unbroken. How in the world do you do something like that?
Well, I went into this workout knowing that my arms are not my biggest strength of my whole body. I know that my legs are much stronger than my upper body. So I knew if I could get to those lunges, it's more just mentally pushing through it. If I could just keep my upper body up, you can see the finish line. You're so close that if you just go mind over matter, and in my case, mind over my whole lower body at that point, I knew I just wanted to finish. Didn't want to put it down because I didn't want to pick it back up. I just wanted it to be over.
Well, and you also had kind of a secret weapon that's standing here behind you, your family.
Yeah, I'm the best ever.
Did you hear them, and how'd that help you out?
Oh, I heard them from the very beginning. As soon as I walked out, I could hear them and my whole gym CrossFit the Ville, which have a whole cheering section back there. It's unbelievable, the atmosphere here, and just having all them here just makes me want to push that much harder to make them proud.
Well, fantastic job, and good luck in your hunt for a spot on the podium for the rest of the weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Lindy Wall now 3rd place overall with 1 event to go.
Great momentum. She needs to keep it up. I want her to just not barely make it in there, but put a stamp on it.
So the women are done with event 6. The men are up next. Could we see another record-breaking performance? We'll have that for you when we come back.
I know my body, and my body knows what it wants. I want to stay healthy, so I take vitamin C. Ultrient C delivers high-performance vitamin C in a powerful new way. Because Ultrient C is pure vitamin C right where my body needs it most. My body wants to deliver all of my strength, all of my drive, all of my focus, all of my heart.
A healthy lifestyle begins with Altrient. Order now and save at Altrient.com.
There's kind of like two pieces to rock crawling that's really fun. The go slow, crawling over rocks and stuff is really technical. The other side is to be able to go flying through the desert really fast. I've got a good cycle of CrossFit going on there. I don't feel so guilty coming out here and staying up all night, eating whatever and drinking whatever. I see every life experience as kind of like a workout. You get loaded with homework assignments and projects, and you just tell yourself, oh, I just gotta chip through it one at a time, one assignment at a time.
3, 2, 1, go!
No matter how slow you go, you're always moving, and you'll eventually get it done.
Coming home. Definitely a favorite day. You don't realize how much you miss home until you're told you can't go back. I want to get back to gymnastics. I want to compete again. I want to get back to CrossFit. I want to go back to school. I want to graduate. You know, all those kind of things.
Life doesn't care where you're going or how you get there. Sometimes you have to push, pull, or fight through it. It's not always perfect, and it doesn't come easy. Life simply asks that you join it.
The CrossFit Games are arguably the most egalitarian sport in history. If you think you have what it takes, all you need to do is throw down for the 6-week Open. Just complete the one workout per week at your local gym or even at home with a video camera, and you're in the running. The catch is you have to outperform the tens of thousands of others who think the same. At the end of the Open, the top 60 from each region are invited to compete in the semi-final round, the regionals, where it is on. You'll go head-to-head for 6 workouts over 3 days in front of judges and thousands of fans. Only the best of the best survive here, as no more than 3 from each region qualify for the Reebok CrossFit Games. Historically, the Central East region has hosted one of the most competitive races in CrossFit. Last year, 5 men earned a spot to Carson. They all placed in the top 10 against the best athletes in the world.
Welcome back to the Ohio Exposition Center in the 2013 Central East Regional Competition. I'm Sean Woodland alongside Bill Grundler, and Bill, those 5 men in this final heat, but there's some new names mixed in there too.
You know, there are a couple. I mean, obviously, whenever you look at any event, you want to throw Rich Froning into the mix as who's going to win it, but we have such a battle going on for that 3rd place. A relative unknown in Gerald Sasser. We asked him what he had to do before. He said, I got to win. Let's see if he can do it with these big boys.
We've already had 2 days of competition and 5 events. Here's a look at how we got here.
A field packed with talent gave us a finish in Event 1 that was loaded with excitement. A mad dash through the 30 pull-ups led to a scramble to the finish line that saw Joe Weigel beat Dan Bailey for first place by a mere 0.2 of a second. 2-time defending Games champion Rich Froning would finish 5th, just 0.6 of a second off the lead time. Froning would do nothing but finish first the rest of the day. He flirted with the Event 2 record with a single overhead squat at 315 pounds. He would turn right around in Event 3 to get through 30 burpee muscle-ups in 4:10.8. That gave him another victory and the event record by 0.2 of a second. Froning's assault on the record book continued on Saturday. He tore through the hundreds en route to setting a new event record at 19:05.2. It was his 3rd straight victory and put him all alone on top of the leaderboard. Marcus Hendren would break Froning's winning streak in Event 5. He got his first win of the competition at 3:35.8. Froning would finish in third with Dan Bailey in fourth.
Your overall standings through 5 events, Rich Froning all by himself at the top of the leaderboard, but still spots 2 through 7 all in contention.
It's going to be tight, and who's going to win it? Right. You're looking at Rich, but those names, they want in that top 3. They want to be on the podium.
Just 17 points separating second from 7th. Rich Froning already has 3 wins. Can he get a 4th and set an event record in the process? Event 6 coming up next when we come back to the Ohio Expo Center.
Hey guys, welcome to CrossFit headquarters. Let's take a look and see how things run on a regional weekend here. So this is actually the publishing and writing side of the house. All of our posts on .com, Twitter, Facebook, it all happens right here. All right guys, this is the IT and art department. This is the game side of the house. Whoa. All of our editing stations, producers, all the content comes in. These guys are doing the edits. Update show is actually getting ready to film. So you can see they've actually got the regionals streaming live. They're doing hair and makeup for the update show. This is actually where they switch between the live show at the desk and the regionals. We've got live streams coming in from all the regionals. And these guys are logging every event, what's going on, who's doing what, who's making moves. The only thing we can't show you is the games testing center. It's top secret, we can't let you on that stuff. So that's it, we'll see you guys this summer at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah! Alright, so I need more core to extremity. Yeah! No. Yes! No. Yeah! Not scream like that. Yes! No. You really want to come from the diaphragm. And get it. Yeah! Yeah! Now kiss the baby.
Oh my goodness, Josh Bridges absolutely hammered those big guys. Woo! Unbelievable, look at this. Crushing the time by a minute. He took that time by a minute.
The same way that CrossFitters have taken fitness to a new level, we do the same thing with the equipment.
Since being involved, owning affiliates, Rogue Fitness gear has made a gym owner's life that much better.
With CrossFit, they know what they want. And because we keep the work local in our shop, I can make changes based on their demands right away.
Do you have Rogue equipment? People look for that when they look at a gym. If it says Rogue on it, that's the mark of quality equipment.
More than 3,000 fans of the sport of fitness have packed the Ohio Expo Center here in Columbus to catch a glimpse of some of the top athletes in CrossFit. The 4th and final heat of men's event number 6 is set to go, and it features 2-time defending champion Rich Froning, but plenty of competitors trying to chase him down.
In lane 12, currently in 12th place from CrossFit 614, Dave Ulmer. In lane 1, currently in 11th place from CrossFit Faith, Matt Hewitt. In lane 11 from CrossFit Talon, currently in 10th place, Will Morad. In lane 2 from CrossFit Future, currently in 9th place, Tristan Moore. In lane 10, currently in 8th place from CrossFit Cadre, Joe Weigel. In lane 3 from CrossFit Polaris, 2012 veteran, in 7th place, Marcus Hendren. In lane 9 from Mad City CrossFit, currently in 6th place, Nick Forey. In lane 4 from CrossFit Countdown, currently in 5th place, In lane 8, the 2010 champion from CrossFit Grandview, currently in 4th, Graham Holberg. In lane 5 from CrossFit Distinction, another Games veteran now in 3rd place, Scott Panchik. In lane 7 from CrossFit Mayhem, another Games veteran in 2nd place right now, Dan Bailey. And in lane 6 from CrossFit Mayhem, the 2011-2012 champ, in 1st place, Rich Froning.
The final heat of men's event number 6. Your starting order and lanes 3 through 9, all still very much in contention for one of the top 3 spots. And here's what is in store for them. Event number 6, known as the Chipper. The time to beat currently held by Nick Urankar, a former Games competitor. The event record belongs to Josh Bridges, 8 minutes, 11 seconds. He did that in the Southern California Regional. Event 6 starts with 100 double unders.
You know, I think this whole event's going to come down to the shoulder to overhead and that walking lunge. It's going to be a battle and a war once they get on the floor, so that's where I look to see some big things happen.
These men trying to chase down that time to beat and the event record, and that man, Dan Bailey, may have a shot at it.
3, 2, 1, go!
We're underway in the 4th and final heat of Event 6, the 6th of 7 events here at the Central East Regional Competition. We saw Dan Bailey right before the 3-2-1 count, and he's a guy who might be able to make a legitimate run at Josh Bridges' record here.
There's a lot of things that he's really good at in this particular workout. Double unders, he's great. Handstand push-ups, we saw it last year with Diane. I expect him to be moving through that part, but again, I don't think that's going to be the main part of this workout. I think it's once we get to the bar, that will determine who our winner is going to be.
After the 100 double unders, the athletes move underneath that clear plexiglass wall where they will perform 50 handstand push-ups. Then it's on to the pull-up bar for 40 toes to bar, and then they get to the axle bar for 30 shoulder to overhead. That thing weighs 160 pounds. Once they're done with that, they front rack it and lunge 90 feet to the finish line. Graham Holberg's done with his double unders, and the whole host of competitors, now just about everybody finishes. Joe Weigel, the last man to finish his double unders, they are all on the 50 handstand push-ups.
What's so impressive about Rich Froning there in the majority red clothing, he's so calm and relaxed. He took a breath. Out of all those athletes, they came underneath the wall. He actually stood there, took a breath, and then went into his handstand push-ups, whereas everyone else is trying to jump up there real quick.
And right now, it's Rich Froning, Dan Bailey, and Graham Holberg all battling it out for the top spot, but Dan Bailey is through 24 reps of his handstand push-ups. He's there in the gray in the middle of your screen. Next to him, Rich Froning on the all red.
Again, what Dan Bailey is doing, which is extremely smart, is he's resting on his head. Gets up, locks his arms out, takes the rep, and goes back down and stops on his head. Saves his arms for when he really needs them, which is at the end of the handstand push-up section, and then when they get into that shoulder to overhead section.
Dan Bailey has back-to-back 6th place finishes at the CrossFit Games. Trying to get back there, he currently sits in 2nd place overall. He's just 1 point ahead of Scott Panchik.
Now, if you look at where their hands are, they want to make sure that every rep is counting. You see that white tape line? They have to keep the mass part of their hand, their palm, within that area. Fingers on that tape is okay, but if their palm touches, that's going to be a no rep.
Rich Froning is going to take a break and walk back to the wall to get to work on his 50 handstand push-ups. Meanwhile, Dan Bailey is just 1 rep away from finishing, and now Bailey will move to the toes to bar. He's the first athlete there, and he is in 1st place. He has yet to win an event, but has not finished outside of the top 5.
You know, this is exactly where he wants to be right now. It's like we said, he hasn't had an event win during this competition, but if there was an event that was made for him to do that, this is his shot to do it.
So Dan Bailey, the only man so far on the pull-up bar going through his toes to bar, and he's almost halfway done with those.
Wow.
Graham Holberg will be joining Bailey on the pull-up bar as Holberg has finished his handstand push-ups, as has Rich Froning. So the three leaders in the middle of your screen. Dan Bailey in the middle, currently in first place in this event. Rich Froning next to him in second. And then with no shirt on the right of your screen, Graham Holmberg in third. And Bailey's finally off the bar. He went 31 unbroken.
You know, he knows these guys are chasing him, and if he wants to make a big move, this is where he has to do it. Just stay consistent, get through these, and then really get moving when he gets to that axle bar.
Approaching the 4-minute mark, the time to beat belongs to Nick Urankar, 10:35. And with the men in this field, you can never reference the world record enough because it's always in danger. This time, it's Josh Bridges' time of 8 minutes 11 seconds. That may go down here as Dan Bailey moving on to the shoulder to overhead, 160 pounds on that axle bar.
Now he really needs to get this thing moving. Look at that, 160 pounds put up overhead. No problem at all, but he needs to make up this distance. He knows the strong characters that are coming up behind him, especially Rich Froning right off to his left there.
Graham Holmberg is through 34 of his 40 toes to bar, and Rich Froning right behind him. He has 10 to go on the pull-up bar. Bailey, meanwhile, got 12 reps done. He has 30 he has to do before he starts on that 90-foot lunge. Rich Froning set the event record in the burpee muscle-ups and then came right back and set the event record in the 100s.
This is a great position that Dan Bailey's in right now, getting into that second set of 10. But again, we know how strong Rich is and how much weight he put up overhead. He's going to get moving. And then right off to his right-hand side is Graham Holmberg. He is a clutch athlete. He always comes through when he needs it, so he can't count anybody out. Dan knows that.
Right now, Graham Holmberg sitting in fourth place overall. He's 3 points back of Scott Tanchik, who currently occupies third. But it's Bailey trying to hang on to his lead as Rich Froning is chipping away at that. Froning now just 10 reps back of Dan Bailey, who was on his final set of 10, shoulder to overhead.
Now, even though Dan's out there in front, Graham and Rich are going basically rep for rep. But you just see how calm Rich is all the time. He just doesn't ever panic. Went back, got a little chalk for his hands, came back up, no problem. We'll see what happens on the lunges.
Rich Froning certainly doesn't need to beat anybody here. He just has to have a solid finish, just keep himself in first place and just avoid a total disaster, which you never see from him. Meanwhile, Dan Bailey with 4 reps to go now on the shoulder to overhead as we approach the 6-minute mark. The world record, 8:11, belongs to Josh Bridges, but for how much longer is the question. Now, Rich Froning on his final set of 10.
Dan needs to get going here. You know, I'm assuming Rich is going to put that bar down, so Dan's going to have to go unbroken on these lunges. Take a quick breath and get moving.
So Bailey will be able to start his lunges now, and Rich Froning is close to starting his 90-foot lunge as well. So Dan Bailey looking for his first win of the competition, but he's going to have to hold off the 2-time defending Games champion to do it. And now Graham Holmberg, the 2010 Games champion, is gaining ground as well. Bailey is off now on his 90-foot lunge. Froning with 1 more rep to go, and he racks it immediately and starts off on his 90-foot lunge.
Look at the difference in how they're lunging. Dan Bailey, even though he's out in front, he's stopping at the top. Rich was actually stepping all the way through, so Rich could definitely catch him if he keeps doing that. Dan has to keep stepping all the way through to make up that distance.
This capacity crowd is on its feet as Dan Bailey and Rich Froning are trying to chase down another event record. 7 minutes have gone by. The event record is 8:11, and Dan Bailey has the bar down. And here comes Rich Froning. Rich Froning has now moved into first place, and Rich Froning has his sights on the 3rd event record. He has yet to put the bar down. The time to beat, no problem. The event record in serious danger as Rich Froning is threatening to knock off Josh Bridges from the top spot. He could take a break here, re-rack the weight and do it. It's the event record hat trick for Rich Froning.
Unbelievable.
7:36. Now Dan Bailey trying to wrap up a second place finish, being cheered on by Froning, who looks like he just went out for a light jog.
You know, it's a good thing that Rich is such a nice guy because he's so good that it still feels good when after he crushes the workout, then comes out and cheers you on like that.
That last lunge won't count for Bailey. He had to keep it in the rack position. Now Holmberg the halfway point. Bailey with one more to go before he closes it out. Bailey is done, and he will lock up a second place finish and hang on to second place overall. Dan Bailey unofficially a time of 8:15. And now it's Gerald Sasser who is passing up Graham Holberg. Sasser, one of the men on the outside looking in, came in 5th place overall with 29 points, 7 back of Scott Panchik.
Right there, Nick Forey, he just made that big stance across Graham Holberg, and that's exactly what he needed. He was sitting in 6th place with 34 points. This is going to do great things for his standing. He wants to get to that podium. He doesn't have to worry about, is there going to be an extra spot? He wants that top 3, and this is exactly what he needs to do to get in there.
And Nick Forey, not Gerald Sasser in the red shorts. Nick Forey now was in 6th overall. He was 12 points back, so he's helping his cause. And we're setting ourselves up for a scramble at the end in Event 7 as Graham Holberg getting ready to come across the finish line. Holberg, another man trying to work his way into the top 3. Holberg unofficially a time of 9:21. Nick Forey was in at 9:06, and now it's Marcus Hendren on the left and Scott Panchik on the right. Step for step here. Hendren a slight lead, chewing up real estate. Hendren is across. Marcus Hendren, another man trying to work his way up the leaderboard and get back to the games. Panchik has the bar down. He is in.
That right there was the battle. Scott Panchik is currently sitting in 3rd place. Marcus Hendren needed that. That was huge for him.
Now Joe Weigel getting back onto the bar. He is currently in the lead among the men who are still on the floor, but it's Will Morad in lane 11 starting to gain ground on him. Weigel trying to see where Morad is. He saw his barrel look to his left. Morad's just over his left shoulder. Now Morad has the bar down. Weigel probably heard that. Now he took a look to his right. Where in lane 1, it's Matt Hewitt trying to finish up. But Matt Hewitt has the bar down, so now it should be smooth sailing for Joe Weigel to come across the finish line and beat out the rest of the competitors on the floor. Weigel with one more step to go. That will count. And Weigel is in. 10 minutes, 37 seconds for Weigel.
You know, this heat was so fast overall that it seems like these guys right here are actually going slow, and they're not. You compare this heat to all the other regions, and these times are smashing other times.
Here comes Matt Hewitt across the finish line. He is in, and now 23-year-old Gerald Sasser is the closest man to finishing. Graham Holberg is out there cheering him on. Sasser came in 5th place overall. Needed a good showing here in order to move up the leaderboard. Had to beat some of the men who have already finished in this heat. So Sasser lunging his way towards the finish line.
Yeah, Gerald really needed to have a much better showing in this. You could tell how wrecked he is. You know, again, even though he's a real strong character, this has been a big weekend. It does a lot of damage, so you think in practice you would have done really, really well, but guess what? Competition stage is a whole different ballgame.
Rich Froning and Graham Holberg, the past 3 games champions. Holberg back-to-back, Froning back-to-back, then Holberg in 2010. And now it's Gerald Sasser coming across the finish line. Sasser stepping on his pad and closing out his event in 11:57. So Rich Froning has set 3 event records this weekend, and he's won 4 events and has yet to finish outside of the top 5. Just business as usual for Rich Froning.
And you want to talk about fitness, it doesn't matter what's thrown at this guy. He just crushes it with complete calmness. I mean, look how relaxed he is.
Tristan Moore finishing up. And now Dave Ulmer, the only man left on the floor. Ulmer still working through his shoulder to overhead. We still have about 2.5 minutes to go before we hit the time cap. Now every competitor making his way back down the floor to cheer on that man, Dave Ulmer.
You know, Dave's had a great showing so far this weekend. It's great for any of these athletes to be able to be in this heat with the virtual who's who in the CrossFit realm. So strong work on Dave. Obviously, he's not feeling real particularly great right now, but he has been doing great overall this whole weekend. One more event after this for him, and you know what? I think he's got a little chance to celebrate anyway.
Find me another sport where you see this, where fellow competitors stay on the floor to not only cheer on a guy they're competing against, but also coach him, and then also when you hear the fans cheering as loud for the last place finisher as they do for the first.
It's the greatest thing ever. You're not going to find that anywhere.
You don't see Tom Brady walking out on the field and say, hey, Peyton, I think you ought to read the defense this way. This doesn't happen. That's what makes this sport so great. Defending champion Rich Brody in over space, trying to encourage him here, trying to get him through that last 45 feet here of the 90-foot lunge. 1 minute to go before we hit the 15-minute time cap.
I mean, what a cool thing to have the champ come up and coach you through an event like this. I mean, you can't buy this kind of thing in any other sport anywhere. I've been in a lot of sports. All the ones I want to do was beat the guy up. So it's nice when you hear everyone gets a high five all the way through the workout.
Now it's Dan Bailey's turn to coach Dave Ulmer. Ulmer with 40 seconds left, and this crowd is still on its feet, cheering him on here to try to get across the finish line. He has 30 seconds to do it, and Ulmer now looking like he's getting into a bit of a rhythm on these lunges.
He sees that finish line. He just wants to get to the end now. He's got to keep it up. Look at that. That's great. Dan Bailey firing up the crowd to get him in.
Here goes Dave Ulmer, and it looks like he will make it across the finish line inside the time cap. The bar is down, so every man in the final heat finishes event 6 inside the 15-minute time cap. And Dave Ulmer did it with the fittest cheerleading squad in history on his side. So your top 3 finishers, it's Rich Froning with yet another event record. Dan Bailey does some solid work with a second place finish, and it's Nick Forey finishing in 3rd, and Forey came out of nowhere.
He did exactly what he needed to do. He was so strong on those lunges, and for his placement, that is really going to help him.
Second place, Dan Bailey had a blistering pace on the overhead or the handstand push-ups, and then on the toes to bar.
You know, again, we thought he was going to do really well here. Wasn't as strong on the lunges as I thought he was going to be, but wow, even his time in his second place time was unbelievable.
And then in first place, just a stone-cold assassin here, Rich Froning.
I don't know, he just looks, he's got something going on. Whatever he's doing it right, because it's virtually perfect.
Froning strolling his way to yet another event record. So the defending champion with the event record hat trick. We still have one event to go. We'll hear from the champ when we come back.
Get it, baby. Rule season. Beach season. Coming for you, Rich, baby. You don't even know, baby. I go so hard. All day long, I'm in your face. You don't even know. Repeat my ass. That's that strong side. That's that strong side. Come on, right side. Come on. Quad. 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 These things made up. Anti-titanium? You need coconut water down here? I need a little protein or something. The heck, bro? You gotta tell me when you're coming tight like that. You said medium. Push league. Load it up. Oh, funky butt loving. You know what? I've had enough. Jeez. Let's do this right.
Columbus has just witnessed Rich Froning set another event record. And Bill, you said it, anything that is thrown at this man, he handles, and he handles it unbelievably.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about fitness, and we're trying to find the fittest man on the planet, and he's showing that, wow, he's going to be really, really tough to beat. It's tough when you have a sport or an event where everyone's gunning for second, because first is basically tied up.
Well, Rich Froning right now has a stranglehold on the top spot of the leaderboard. Dan Bailey sits in second place, and it's Scott Panchik in third. But still, plenty of men behind them in contention for 2 of those 3 spots. Let's send it down to Emily Turner, who's standing by with Rich Froning.
Thanks so much, Sean. All right, Sandy, you're a 2-time games champion. You've now set a 3rd event record, but you weren't the first person off of the first few movements. How did you manage to win and still beat the record?
It's all strategy. I mean, it's everybody says fitness isn't, or CrossFit's not a sport, but there's a sport to it. So, you know, I knew what movements were going to be good for. Like, I knew the shoulder overhead, if I could catch my breath and keep, you know, or recover enough to where I could make the shoulder overhead in the least amount of sets as I needed. And then I waited. I did a set of 9, so I didn't have to clean it up again to go into the lunge. And then it's always nice to have a little rabbit to chase like Dan Bailey. So luckily he was in front of me, and when he put it down, that just kind of fueled me. Everybody cheering and going nuts. Couldn't disappoint, so I had to keep going.
All right, so Dan Bailey, apparently a nice little rabbit to chase. As a 2-time games champion, you've set all of these records. What is it that you're saying to these guys who you're watching duke it out for these last few spots on the podium?
It's just, I mean, we're all coaches first, really. I mean, we started out as coaches before we were athletes, most of us, while we, you know, in CrossFit. So it's you're just coaching people, doing what we love to do, like to see other people perform. So it's easy for me to tell somebody to pick it up, even though they don't want to. I'm finished. It's easier for me. So.
Fantastic. Well, good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Emily. Rich Froning, another event record. We'll see you later.